But it's too late. And the worst part, life isn't just taking away their peace, it's stripping them of the very things they prioritized over you. The friendships they thought would be better than your presence, falling apart. The new relationships they believed would bring them more happiness, filled with emptiness and betrayal. The life they built on the foundation of their arrogance, cracking under the weight of their own choices. They thought they could walk away and never look back. But life has a way of making sure people face the consequences of their actions. And now, as they sit in the wreckage of the life they chose, they finally understand. They are not suffering because you wished harm upon them. They are suffering because this is the price of their own decisions. They are learning the hard way that what they threw away was not something small, not something replaceable, not something that could be forgotten. It was everything. And as they sit alone, watching their life unravel, they now understand something they refused to see before. Losing you was not just a mistake. It was the beginning of their downfall. It started subtly, a passing thought, a fleeting image of you in their mind. At first they brushed it off, just a random memory, nothing more. They told themselves they had moved on, that what happened was in the past. But as the days turned into weeks and the weeks into months, the memories didn't fade. They grew stronger. No matter how much they tried to distract themselves, your presence lingered. In the quiet moments, in the spaces between conversations, in the silence of the night, they found themselves thinking of you, your voice, your laughter, the way you looked at them when you still cared. It plays in their head like a song they can't turn off. And it's torture, because now every single memory carries weight. The things they once ignored, the gestures they once took for granted, are now the very things that haunt them. They remember the way you always listened, even when they had nothing important to say. They remember the way you understood them in ways no one else did. They remember the way you stood by them, even when they gave you every reason to leave. And now those memories feel like chains around their mind. They see you in places they used to go with you, a coffee shop, a street corner, a favorite song on the radio. What once were ordinary moments are now painful reminders of what they lost. They find themselves reaching for their phone, wanting to message you, to tell you they remember, to see if you still care. But they hesitate, because deep down, they know you don't need them anymore. And that realization breaks them. They thought they had power over you. They thought that walking away meant they could erase you, move forward without consequence. But life doesn't work that way. Some people leave footprints on your soul, and no matter how far you run, you cannot outrun their absence. The worst part? They remember the exact moment they lost you. It replays in their mind like a nightmare, the last conversation, the final words, the way you looked at them before you walked away for good. They can't escape it. Every time they close their eyes, it's there, gnawing at them, whispering the truth they don't want to face. They did this to themselves. And now, no matter how much time passes, no matter how many distractions they chase, you are always there, in the spaces between their thoughts, in the quiet moments they can't avoid. They hear your voice in their head, remembering the things you used to say, the advice, the reassurances, the moments when you believed in them more than they believed in themselves. And it fills them with regret, because now they see what they were too blind to appreciate before. You were the one person who truly understood them. And now they will never have that again. They might try to drown it out, surround themselves with new people, chase after meaningless connections, bury themselves in distractions, but none of it works. Because memories don't fade just because you want them to. They attach themselves to the soul, reminding you of everything you once had and everything you foolishly threw away. And so they sit with their regret, knowing they cannot turn back time, knowing that no matter how much they wish they had done things differently, they cannot undo the past. And worst of all, The more they remember, the more they realize while they are haunted by you, you are no longer thinking of them at all. There was a time when they saw you as just another presence in their life, someone always available, always giving, always willing to forgive. They knew you cared, and they used that knowledge to their advantage. They assumed that no matter what they did, no matter how carelessly they treated you, you would always be there, waiting, hoping, holding on. But something changed. Not in you, but in them. Because now, for the first time, they see you for what you always were, rare. They look back and realize that what they had with you wasn't ordinary. It wasn't something that could be replaced, duplicated, or taken for granted. And that realization has shattered the illusion they once held, that you were just like everyone else. Because you weren't. You were different. And now they understand what they never did before. They see your patience in a world that is impatient. They see your kindness in a world that is selfish. They see your loyalty in a world that is filled with fleeting connections and shallow relationships. And it makes them sick with regret. Because they remember every moment they dismissed your value, every time they ignored your efforts, every time they made you feel like you were not enough, when in reality, you were more than they ever deserved. They thought they had options. They believed that there would always be someone else, someone easier, someone more convenient, someone who didn't challenge them to grow. But now, after losing you, they finally understand the truth. You weren't just an option. You were the best thing that ever happened to them. And they threw it away. The weight of this realization follows them everywhere. It lingers in the quiet moments, creeps into their thoughts when they least expect it. They see people come and go in their life, but none of them compare to you. None of them make them feel the way you did. Because the connection they had with you wasn't something they could manufacture with someone else. It wasn't surface level. It wasn't temporary. It was real. And now, as they sit with the echoes of what once was, they begin to grasp the gravity of their loss. They see you now, not as the person they took for granted, but as the person they never truly appreciated. They think back to the moments when they should have said thank you, but didn't. The moments when they should have held on tighter, but chose to push you away instead. The moments when they could have loved you better, but instead they let their pride, their ego, their selfishness convince them that you would always be there. But you're not there anymore. And that is what breaks them the most. Because now the one thing they wish for the most is the one thing they can never have again, a second chance. But life does not grant second chances to those who waste what they were given. Now they see your worth. Now they understand what they lost. And now they must live with the painful truth that they will never, ever find another you. At first, they didn't believe it. They thought you were just upset, just emotional, just going through a phase. They told themselves that eventually you would come back, that eventually you would miss them enough to reach out, that eventually the silence would break and things would go back to the way they were. But that moment never came. Days turned into weeks, weeks into months, and with every passing moment it became clearer you weren't coming back. And now that realization is suffocating them. Because they see now what they refused to see before. This isn't temporary. This isn't some dramatic reaction. This isn't you trying to teach them a lesson. This is final. You are gone, and they don't know how to handle it. At first, they were arrogant. They assumed you were just waiting, that you would eventually break down and reach out, desperate for closure, desperate to fix things, desperate for their validation. But the longer the silence stretched, the more that arrogance turned into doubt. Because suddenly it wasn't you who was missing them, it was them missing you. They started checking their phone more often, hoping to see your name appear on the screen. Every notification made their heart race for a second, only to be met with disappointment when they realized it wasn't you. They started replaying old conversations, rereading the words they once ignored, trying to find some hidden meaning, some sign that you still cared. They started thinking about all the things they should have said, all the apologies they never gave, all the ways they should have treated you better. And slowly they realized the truth. You have moved on. And they are stuck. They thought they were the strong one, the one who had control, the one who made the decisions. But now they see how powerless they really are. Because no matter how much they regret, no matter how much they wish they could take back their mistakes, no matter how much they pray for another chance, they cannot make you return. And that truth eats away at them. They feel it when they wake up in the morning, reaching for their phone, only to remember that you're not there anymore. They feel it when they go to sleep at night, staring at the ceiling, consumed by thoughts of you, wondering if you ever think about them the way they think about you. They feel it in every familiar place, every familiar smell, every song that reminds them of you, because now they finally understand what they lost. And it is unbearable. They try to distract themselves. They go out with friends, surround themselves with noise, try to fill the void with shallow conversations and temporary company. But it doesn't work, because none of it is you. And the truth they avoided for so long now stares them in the face. They never thought this day would come. They never thought they would be the one left behind. They never thought you would have the strength to truly walk away. But you did. And now they know that no matter how much they wish for it, no matter how much they cry, no matter how many times they replay the past in their mind, you will never come back. And that is a pain they will carry for the rest of their life. The finality of your absence is something they never prepared for. They always thought there would be a way back, a moment where they could undo the damage, an opportunity to fix what they broke. But the reality is cruel. And now they are forced to face a truth they never saw coming. You are never coming back. At first, they didn't panic. They believed it was just a matter of time before you reached out, before the silence became too much for you to bear. They had convinced themselves that you needed them more than they needed you, that eventually you would break, that you would come back seeking closure, seeking understanding, seeking them. But time passed. And you never reached out. And now the panic has set in. They can't ignore it anymore. They can't pretend it's just temporary, because every passing day is proof that you have moved on. Every moment that goes by without a message from you, without a sign that you still care, chips away at their pride, their ego, their sense of control. And it's terrifying, because for the first time they feel powerless. They used to believe they had all the control. They thought they could walk away and decide later if they wanted to return. But now they realize they made the biggest mistake of their life, because they no longer have access to you. They can't call you like they used to. They can't manipulate the situation with empty apologies. They can't try to worm their way back into your life when it's convenient for them. They lost that privilege the moment they chose to betray you. And now they have to live with that reality. They spend their days wondering what you're doing, who you're with, if you ever think about them. They scroll through old messages, replay old conversations, search for clues that maybe, just maybe, there's still a way back in. But deep down, they know the truth. That door's closed. They had their chance. They had every opportunity to appreciate you, to value you, to fight for you. But they didn't, and now they must live with the consequences of their own choices. The worst part, they know that even if they tried to come back, even if they begged, even if they poured out every regret in their heart, you wouldn't take them back. Because you've changed. You've grown. You've evolved past them. You've become someone who no longer accepts bare minimum effort, manipulation, or one-sided love. And that is what truly breaks them. Because the one thing they were so sure of, the belief that they could always have you if they wanted, is gone. Now, they are the ones suffering in silence. Now, they are the ones feeling abandoned, overlooked, and forgotten. Now, they are the ones left behind. And they know with absolute certainty, this time, you're never coming back. Life has a way of teaching people the lessons they refuse to learn when they have the chance. The ones who betrayed you, abandoned you, and dismissed your worth are now the ones drowning in regret. They sit in silence, haunted by the echoes of your absence, tormented by the realization that they destroyed something irreplaceable. They thought they could walk away without consequence. They believed you would always be there, waiting, hurting, longing for them to return. But the truth is, they overestimated their importance in your life and underestimated your ability to heal, to rise, to move forward without them. And now they are trapped. Trapped in their own choices, in the weight of their regret, in the memories that refuse to fade. They see you thriving, untouchable, unbothered, and it shatters them. They cry not for you, but for themselves, because they finally understand what they lost. But you have no reason to look back. You have no reason to pity them, because your power was never in their hands to begin with. The greatest revenge is not anger. It is not hatred. It is not bitterness. The greatest revenge is indifference. You have taken back your energy, your love, your loyalty, and given it to the one person who always deserved it, yourself. And that is why they are crying now. Not because they miss you, but because they finally understand they will never have you again. So walk forward, head held high, because you were never the one who lost anything. They were.